What is up, guys? Welcome to the Cinema Review. My name is Scott. Today I'll be reviewing the new movie Jungle Cruise starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Emily Blunt from Disney. I watched it on Disney Plus, but it's out in theaters as well. This is my first ever movie review here on YouTube, so hopefully it's a good one. If you happen to like it, please make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. With that all being said, let's get right into it. Jungle Cruise is an adventure story starring Emily Blunt, who plays the character of Dr. Lily Holton, and she enlists the aid of wisecracking skipper Frank Wolf, played by The Rock, to take her down to the Amazon in this sort of boat that's based off of the ride at Disney World and Disneyland. So together they have to search for this tree that holds the power to heal, and she uses this power. She wants to use this power to change the future of medicine. Yes, this movie's getting a lot of comparisons to other classics like Indiana Jones or Pirates of the Caribbean. You can tell they're trying to replicate that same sort of adventurous feel. I don't think they ever quite get it to that mark, but they get pretty far along the way. The movie's pretty much what you expect it to be. I mean, it's a Disney live action movie, so it hits all the beats there, hits all the marks of what you're looking for, especially in this family friendly sort of movie. There's a lot of positive and negatives. I never want to look at a kids movie like just as a kids movie. I know Space Jam 2 got a backlash from that, like, oh, it's just a kids movie, and then people were like, yeah, but like we know what a good kids movie is like. This is just a bad one, so whatever. So I think for this one, there's a lot of positives about it, there's a lot of negatives, but let's just get right into the positives first. So a lot of positives for this movie could be negatives for some others. So it's like if you don't like The Rock and his sort of style of movies that he does, that comedy action, then you're probably not gonna like this movie. You're not gonna like this character. If you don't like Disney live action movies from like The Jungle Book or Mary Poppins Returns, which starring Emily Blunt as well, or what was some of the other recent ones? 2019 Lion King, which isn't good either, and I haven't even seen most of the Disney live action movies anyway. But this one's a little bit different, so that's why I think I enjoyed it a little bit more. But if you already don't like those movies and you go into it and you're like, like let's see what this is, you're not gonna like it. It's your run of the mill, same old type of story. Like I said, it hits all the beats. It has that same sort of rhythmic tone to it. It starts out actually the first hour is actually negative, so I'll go into that later. But towards the back half of the movie, I started to like a lot of things. So a little background on me: I grew up watching wrestling, so I love The Rock. And when I saw him break into his movie scene, I started watching all his movies. A lot of them aren't that good, but I remember back in the day I used to watch movies like Walking Tall, which is good. Nowadays he's got a very different sort of vibe. He's very just kid-friendly comedy action sort of thing, and he's the same character in every single movie. So, and this one is no different, but it works. And there's a point in the movie to where you realize his character is more than what meets the eye, and that really elevated the whole movie because there's an aspect that was brought in that was much needed. It built a lot of interest for me where I really didn't have much interest in the actual story going in. So bringing this new element in, it really helped me and it made me like the character more. Another thing I liked was the score. The score was actually like super good. It elevated every single scene. I wouldn't be surprised if it was nominated. It's kind of similar to some other scores we've heard, but it was just on point every single time. Another thing is that with these type of movies, there's gonna be jokes, right? There's gonna be kid jokes, and there's gonna be some jokes for adults that used to go over our head as a kid. And this movie has the same sort of thing. And I think the adult jokes land pretty well here. The Rock's kind of doing this whole like dad jokes, like making a pun out of everything. And I'm sure a lot of people like it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't really laughing that hard. But towards the end, I realized there was a couple of jokes that actually had me laughing out loud, and I caught myself. And that elevated the movie for me because it brings in a much needed comedy element. So another thing is that with these two big stars of Emily Blunt and The Rock, you need good chemistry, right? And I think they have it here. There's like kind of like this banter throughout the whole movie. Then eventually, there's like this love interest that starts happening between them, and it worked. I enjoyed it, and by the end, there's a believable payoff to it all. It's not like you're like, oh, I didn't believe this relationship. I didn't buy it. But I think they have a good enough chemistry to where you do. And the whole story is good payoff. I'm not going to spoil it. There's a spoiler for your review. But by the end, I enjoyed the whole story and the feel. And, for a family-friendly movie, it's kind of exactly what you're going into for. And the type of audience that is bringing their kids, this is the type of movie that they want to bring their kids to. So it hits the beats and all that. And I think that's pretty positive. So now we got rid of the positives. Let's start with the negatives. I just want to start by saying I didn't even know Jesse Plemons was in this movie. For those that don't know who Jesse Plemons is, I'm sure you do. You just can't recall where he's from. He's most famously from Breaking Bad, where I first saw him, I think. He's been in Black Mirror episodes. Recently, he was in I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I mean, he's in The Irishman. He's in a lot of things. He's in Game Night. He's in so many things, and I really enjoy him as an actor. And this one, he puts on a fun performance, but he's just that generic like German villain. He's just like I don't even know what he was trying to do. You know, he's just like that bad guy that comes in. He's like trying to stop them and do whatever. I didn't believe it. That's not. I didn't really care for that story. There's like two sort of villain things in this movie where there's two people like trying to get Emily Blunt and The Rock. And Jesse Plemons, like just whenever he was on screen, it was fun. You're like, oh, he's being funny, or he's doing his whole German impersonation thing. But it was just, I didn't really believe it. I didn't really buy it, and I didn't really enjoy it. So another thing that might annoy a lot of people is that this is a very digital type of movie. There's a lot of CGI. Everything's pretty much has that digital tone and that whole CGI feel to it. You can just tell it's just like a giant green screen. You know, I mean, it does look beautiful at times with the water, and there's like dolphins, and it's all CGI and it looks nice. Some people like that, some people don't. I personally am open to looking past it, but it's not really something that I go for. But it does make it look nice. It's just a couple of times where there's a couple of animals, and it's just like too in your face with the CGI, and there's like these human hybrids where it's like one guy's like half of a swarm of bees, and one other guy's like has a snake, so his body's full of snakes. So it's just for kids, it's like interesting and cool, or it looks different, but for us, it's just kind of a bunch of like CGI crap. So that was another thing that sort of annoyed me. Another thing was, like I said, that first hour just didn't really do much for me. I know it's a bunch of like setting up the characters and the story, but it just wasn't enough to pull me in. It was the same old adventure tale that I wasn't really like in the mood for watching. Like going to this tree to get this plant. I just didn't care for it. So it really, I thought the whole time I was like, this needs to do something different for me to actually enjoy it. And thankfully, that does come towards the end. But that first act and even the second act was just very slow and boring. This rating was kind of dropping. It's fun, obviously. Like I'm not gonna shit on it for the whole duration of the movie. But that first and second act just didn't do much. It's not awful. It's not bad, but it's not really good either. So thankfully, it does get better by the end. I said there's a couple things that happen without spoiling it that will make you better appreciate the movie, and it's just a good time. And how everything gets wrapped up is why the movie I look at it in a positive way. So it's definitely not. It's not one of the best of the year. It's definitely not one of the worst. I think it's somewhere in the middle, more towards good. So that being said, I give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. It is a pretty good family-friendly movie. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. This is only my first movie review YouTube video, so it's only gonna get better from here, hopefully. Hopefully Green Knight we got tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, Jungle Cruise, let me know what you guys think. And again, like, comment, subscribe.